Good morning, everybody. I want to talk for just a couple of minutes about a question that came up today on Facebook. And that question states, I know I'm overweight and I know losing weight would help my health. However, I do not believe that if and when I lose the weight, that my COPD, asthma, and autoimmune disease will go away. So I want to just talk about a couple of things related to this topic. And it is very true that losing weight will not cause asthma to go away, it will not cause COPD to go away, and it will not cause autoimmune disease to go away. However, it can significantly impact and help your overall health, but specifically your breathing. And let's just think about why. If you think about somebody who has, let's say, 20 extra pounds, 50 extra pounds, 100 extra pounds, okay? Divide whatever number that is by 2 and imagine that much weight strapped to each side of your rib cage, okay? So let's say we have 50 extra pounds. That's 25 extra pounds on each side of our rib cage. And every time you want to take a breath, you have to go about lifting that weight each and every time, increasing the workload on your respiratory muscles, okay? Increasing the resistance, particularly on your diaphragm, but also what that does is from a metabolic perspective, okay, it makes you work harder even when you're doing absolutely nothing, okay? So imagine if I gave you a 15-pound bowling ball in each hand and asked you to carry that around all day. Needless to say, at the end of the day, you would be exhausted. For many of us, we'd probably be exhausted within the first couple of minutes. But then imagine I gave you the opportunity to give me 2 bowling balls to carry around all day. Think about how much better you're going to feel just by getting rid of that weight. Now, here's another thing I want to point out. I speak all the time about the fact that breathing is a multifactorial process. What do I mean by that? I mean that it's not just the lungs and the respiratory system that affect how well or how poorly we breathe. There are many factors that can play an impact, that can have an impact on how well or how poorly we breathe. And that, of course, includes the lungs, but it also includes the heart. It also includes the peripheral muscles. It includes how conditioned we are, what kind of shape we're in, if we're overweight or underweight. So how do we know this? Think about this fact. Have you ever gone to your doctor and you've said, my breathing is much worse, and your doctor does a pulmonary function test and says that your pulmonary function has not changed? Or have you ever gone to the doctor and said, my breathing is much better, and you expect to have a much better PFT, but it still hasn't changed? So what that tells us is that there have to be other factors involved in breathing besides just your pulmonary function. So my point is, you're right, these other diseases are not going to get away, although I would make the case that your asthma symptoms can actually improve, because, one thing to realize is that the harder it is for you to breathe, the harder it becomes for you to breathe. And what do I mean by that? Particularly with asthmatics, where one of the issues is airway irritability, okay? The harder you have to work to move air in and move air out, you can actually increase the amount of air trapping, increase the amount of bronchoconstriction, and increase the amount of bronchospasm, meaning that the smooth muscle inside the airways can actually get tighter and tighter and tighter. And this is why we recommend things like slow, deep, easy breathing, pursed lip breathing, paced breathing. So I hope that this was helpful. Again, weight loss is not going to cure a disease, but you know what? Any disease is going to be better if you unload that extra weight. Hope you all have a great day. I'm Noah Greenspan.